as much as we would love to imagine that this court is just going to look at the case, rule on the merits, we all know, just like in American context, politics reigns supreme. And that's why the big Israeli push prior to this hearing was to pressure countries around the world. And so, you know, there's we wanted to present you with both a counter argument that, you know, the ICJ will probably find that Israel is not plausibly committing genocide and will rule against South Africa, and also an argument that, no, we actually think on the merits they are going to side with South Africa in this case. Let's see, which one of these do we have first? Is it Norm we've got up first here? Yes, Norm Finkelstein, who we've, of course, had on the show multiple times, who is, you know, life, like his entire adult life has been spent devoted to this cause and understanding the nuances of it. He is actually very pessimistic that the ICJ is going to side with South Africa because of the politics I was just alluding to. Let's take a listen to a bit of that.
So on the merits, I would say they make a plausible case. But these things are never decided by the merits. They're not decided by the law. They're decided by politics. You can't get around it. And so what do you have now? The ICJ consists of 15 judges. The 15 judges comprise the Security Council and 10 other states. So Russia, China, the US, the UK, and France. Okay? The 5 permanent members, they have representatives on the ICJ. So you think to yourself, oh, great. Okay, we lose with the US for sure. We lose with the UK for sure. France is a question mark, given the statements it's been making about what's going on in Gaza. I would call it a question mark.
Yeah.
And then we say, oh, great. We have one question mark, and then we have Russia and China. And you think, okay, we have Russia and China on our side. Well, Russia is now being accused of genocide in Ukraine. And that's a pending case in the ICC, the International Criminal Court. So do they want to open up the Pandora's box of that genocide convention, which might backfire and be used against them? Very unlikely. China, well, as everybody knows, China is being accused of genocide against the Uyghurs. So do they want to open up the Pandora's box of the genocide convention and it's used against them? I would say very unlikely. So right now, we have 1 of 5, which is France, maybe.
Yeah.
Then Germany's on this year.
Forget it. They'd vote for it. They'd be worse than Israel on it.
They would vote for the genocide.
So he's doing the math there and saying, based on the politics,
I mean, I think he's right.
Doesn't look great.
Every single thing he laid out, especially with Russia and China and the contravening interests as to why both don't want to open the thing up, I think it's starting.
I mean, the only question on that one is, you know, they're not afraid of being hypocrites either.
True.
In plenty of instances. So do they see this more as a way to thumb their nose at the U.S.? Poke us in the eye, you know? Do they want to posture like, oh, look, they've, you know, the U.S. has dropped the ball on being the arbiters of international law and standing up for humanitarian rights. So we're picking up the ball. We're the real beacons of humanitarianism in the world. I think that's possible, but I also think that Norm's analysis is very possible as well.
Certainly. We have the counter case.
Yeah, so international law expert Francis Boyle, I played this on Counterpoints yesterday, but I wanted to highlight it as well. He's argued successfully at the ICJ multiple times, in fact, and specifically on the Genocide Convention. So he is like probably the most expert person on this that you could possibly imagine. And he believes quite strongly that South Africa will win this order against Israel. Let's take a listen to a bit of his analysis.
I was the first lawyer ever to win anything under the Genocide Convention from the International Court of Justice. That goes back to 1921. I single-handedly won 2 world court orders for the Republic of Bosnia-Herzegovina against Yugoslavia to cease and desist from committing all acts of genocide. And based on my careful review of all the documents so far submitted by the Republic of South Africa, I believe South Africa will win an order against Israel to cease and desist from committing all acts of genocide against the Palestinians. And under Article 1 of the Genocide Convention, all contracting parties, 153 states, will then be obliged, quote, to prevent, unquote, the genocide by Israel against the Palestinians. Second, when the World Court gives this cease and desist order against Israel, the Biden administration will stand condemned under Article 3, Paragraph E of the Genocide Convention that criminalizes complicity in genocide.
So he basically makes the case like, listen, based on my expert opinion and historic knowledge of the cases I've argued, this is even more clear-cut than the victories he's been able to obtain. And Saagar, I think he points out something really important there, which is worth underscoring. That is, you know, if there is an order issued here from the court against Israel, that order isn't just about what Israel has to do. It's also that all signatories, of which we are actually a signatory here, must act to try to prevent the genocidal acts. And that's, I guess, the quote-unquote enforcement mechanism. It's obviously dependent on those countries actually doing the thing that they're supposed to do. But that's why there's sort of broader implications here. I have no idea, right? I am total novice in understanding the workings of the ICJ. I have no idea just how nakedly political it is, what happens behind the scenes, you know, what the precedents are. I really, you know, can only take the opinions of people I respect, like Francis Boyle and Norman Finkelstein. So there you go. Those are the cases on either side.
My cynic's heart is with Norm. In general, my betting on cynicism has worked out well for me in politics here, everywhere, and I don't know. I don't see a world where anyone allows this to happen. But hey, who the hell knows?
We'll
Could be totally wrong.
We will see what happens. And just last thing on this, in terms of the timing, I mean, they're having hearings today, tomorrow, some hearings over the weekend, and then the expectation is that they will rule on this temporary injunction in the next couple of weeks. Then there will be, you know, an argument on the merits. That will take multiple years, likely, based on how this has played out in the past. But we actually should know in a couple of weeks what happens with this specific case.
There you go.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.